NSFW, what's your unpopular sex opinion? Missionary doesn't deserve all the hate. I think it's the second best position when it comes to angles and actually hitting good spots. In addition to this, I'd like to quote some text post I saw the other day. Missionary calls his eyes pretty and his face is handsome. When you actually like the person you're with, that is magical. Yeah, having with someone you love is a whole different thing. I sometimes think people complicate to make up for a lack of emotional intimacy. The bed is by far the best place for, and it's not even close. The couch is too small, the table, countertop is too hard, you get rug burn from the floor, standing is difficult if you don't get the angles right, it's too cramped in the car. Don't even get me started about the shower, that plain dangerous. Reach around hand jobs are massively underrated. Here's why. 1. The sensation and position are familiar to anyone who with their hands. Whether that's a guy or girl, it's easier to enjoy stimulation that's familiar. You can work together or even lots of skin-to-skin contact. If you do it right, you're basically spooning. It feels powerful. Ladies, have you ever wanted to feel like you were stroking yourself off? It's great stuff. Easy access nibbling on neck and ears. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. There's nothing wrong with liking vanilla and not being into kinks. Along with the theme of vanilla, I like to think of it like ice cream. It's real easy to throw a bunch of inside a base and make it taste pretty good, but if your vanilla custard base is amazing, then your triple fudge ripple will be amazing too. Don't be the guy that throws syrup on some blue bunny and claim to be a patissier. I almost feel like you have an ice cream kink. Is one of the main reasons for anxiety. Men worry too much about their performance and size, and women worry too much about their bodies and how fit they are. And both worry if their performance is good enough. The list is too long to be honest for both. From I don't want to be naked, to I don't know how to say what I want. I can only enjoy it if my partner is also enjoying it. Yeah, my biggest turn on is my wife being turned on. If she's not, there's absolutely no point in her just going through the motions for my benefit. That's just an awkward waste of everyone's time. Joking and laughing during is amazing and way more intimate than just going at it or kissing during or whatever. I am a guy and I have zero interest in putting anything in my wife's. She still thinks, after 15 years, that I'm going to ask for anal out of the blue one day. Edit. You've other people 1,000 times, but here you are and your top comment is about you and your wife's stance on play. I have no interest in butt stuff, and most women I have been with appreciate it. My ex begged me for anal. She said she loved it, but it's not really my thing. Yet when I told her she could use a finger back there on me, she got all sorts of grossed out and said, maybe with a glove on. Like, WTF, it's gross for you to use your finger but you want me to stick my up there. She also hated oral. There's more than one reason she's my ex, but we were not sexually compatible. Most people can't handle threesome. 90% of the time someone's feelings gets hurt. They feel betrayed and drift away. Another is most men who think they want to see their white hat with someone else don't. It crushes them once it's actually happening. Honestly, it's almost always a lopsided. Like someone else mentioned, it tends to have the best chances of working out if each person is actually attracted to the other two. But most threesomes are like MFF, with everyone straight, so managing that imbalance is more often than not a doomed mission. A lot of people also try to bring in a third because their relationship is going sour. 100% the third is just getting a front row seat to a dying marriage. I joined a relationship in which a married couple opened up for a third. Was a year and a half of watching their sinking ship. I believe poly can work, but not that time. I should be having. You're right, that is unpopular. Dude. If you lay it all out on the table first, you have a better time of it later. Tom Segura has a god bit about that. Tell your girlfriend, wife, whatever, tell them what you like. If they care about you, they'll do it. Dress like a clown and peg me, whatever you like, man. I told my wife my fetish is nurses, and now we have scrubs. Both partners should initiate every now and then, not just one or the other. It makes both people feel desired, and if you're in a relationship, it feels like less of an obligation. Also, my hot take. It's okay for a man to say no. And I think women should learn to respect that as much as it is okay for a woman to say no. Aggressively fingering my is a huge turnoff and it hurts. Cut your fucking nails and don't think that just because girls seem to enjoy it we all girls do too. I don't seem to have kinks. Not any like BDSM for sure. I don't like that choking and has become the norm. I just want love. Blows my mind how popular all that's become. Maybe because it was considered taboo and off the wall for the time. Maybe repression has something to do with it. Beats me. Different strokes, different folks. I feel like it's one of those things that has always existed but people have only been comfortable discussing it recently. Foreplay is the best part of the fact that we divide foreplay and or that we downplay some acts of intimacy as lesser or that doesn't count is sad and a real problem. Whenever I hear oral as not being real, like it's in the name, it's so much easier and less cleanup than regular. Sometimes masturbation is better than actual boning. Sometimes I'm horny, but I can't be bothered with the rigmarole of signaling to my wife that I want to, the 50-50 as to whether she's interested, or the physical act of boning. Or, I'm just interested in my own sexual gratification without having to worry about someone else's. One for you, one for her. Having hardcore, vigorous pumping isn't the best, and not really worth it all the time. As a result could be a bruised cervix. Oh hark at the getting the big. Don't do oral unless you actually want to. Don't go down on your partner if you don't actually enjoy doing it. Everybody is nervous about their genitalia at least to some extent. Taste. Smell. Is it okay? Are you sure? If you're going to have paying some special attention to it, don't bother. Enthusiasm is where most of the enjoyment comes from. Pleasuring your partner shouldn't be some kind of personal sacrifice that you have to endure. Find something else you could do for them if you don't like oral. Eat that, whatever, like it's your last meal on death row, or don't bother. There's the exchange where maybe you like X but she doesn't X and she likes Y but you don't like Y. So you get to have her do X while giving or let her do Y. I think that's fair. Sharing intimate intimate details of your life with your friends without your partner's consent is a huge violation of their trust and privacy. I'm surprised this is considered unpopular. I don't think it's an unpopular opinion, but I think it's pretty common, especially among girls. My girlfriend gets a FaceTime the morning after one of her friends has a hookup and gets intimate details about the night. I've heard sexual details I've never wanted to hear, some of which about my friends. Calling me daddy is extremely creepy. I kinda just go along with it because I'm usually balls deep at that point, but making me think about Freud's theories mid-coitus turns me off quick lol. I'm a woman and I don't get it either. Dad is that older guy who read stories to me when I was a toddler. A guy I'm related to. Why on earth would I want to be rid of him during? Because the guy who's you has also told you stories to get you to bedtime. People who build their entire life and identity around their kink are no different than those people who build their entire lives and identities around watching anime or building model railroads. I actually think there is more depth to the model railroad builder. That's actually creative. Missionary is the best position. Dude, missionary feels way too good to me. I don't even want to do it sometimes because I feel like I too quick. You should not be labeled as a pervert if you have a very high drive. It's ways less easy than it looks. It even shatters couples sometimes. A happy life is normal. If your happy life means doing it one or several times a day, then it's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Edit. The opposite is also true. Having a very low drive isn't an issue, if your happiness in your life goes with doing it more rarely, or even if you're asexual, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I think it's fine as long as your partner is on the same page. Obviously there are compromises in relationships, but an asexual partner should probably not be with someone who wants it daily. Exactly. That's the thing though. Even if compromises work, it is always better when you both have a similar drive. My point is, it is sometimes hard to obtain when you approach the extremes because it is regularly shamed. Women need to communicate better. Many of my partners have liked guys taking control and going for it in the bedroom. I've had an ex I didn't end up having with who got pissed that despite all her teasing I never pinned her down and fucked her. Nope. No. Not fair. We live in a world where you've made it abundantly clear that no means no and silence isn't consent. It's now your responsibility as a woman to communicate that you want to be fucked. I've never not communicated my consent, and women who don't do so are wrong. The enjoyment, thrill, fantasy of having a man go caveman and just take you is unfair and inappropriate to pursue. Edit. Thanks for the gold. It literally takes one conversation. Hey, I like CNC. My safe word is strawberry, so please pin me down and me whenever. Boom. You can have your consent and eat it too. But that requires a frank and honest conversation about. A lot of people aren't even that honest with themselves, let alone a partner. People care way too much about. Not saying it isn't fun under the right circumstances, but people care way too much about it. My first boyfriend completely ruined for me. Violently forced himself on me one night, and I had such a horrible experience with him, no longer found enjoyable. It tore up my relationships after that because I didn't want to have as much as my partners. I was always thinking there was something wrong with me, because I'm in my early 20s and should be having crazy all the time. I'm just glad to see your comment. It kind of hits home. Shower sucks. IKR. Always get my stuck in the drain. Society has put far too much importance on it. I think that part of the reason that we have incels is because people tend to measure the worth of a man by how many women he's had with. And since everywhere you look, there's a sexualization of things that really shouldn't be sexualized, it's just become the be-all end-all in some people's minds. I think there's importance attached because it is one of the very few things that you cannot just go out and get. Almost anything you want in life, money, food, learning, playing sports, hobbies, etc., is in your hands, and you can get it. Requires consent of another human being. Men who keep their hair down there trimmed is hot. Wait, this is an unpopular opinion. Maybe it's because I'm still in my 20s, but I feel like most guys I know keep it trimmed. How many dudes out there are rocking an unkempt bush? I only trim it, don't shave. Shaving is really risky, and I always manage to nip myself. And it becomes incredibly itchy when it's growing back unless you want to be shaving it every couple of days to keep it smooth. I'm not in a relationship and am not sexually active, so guys like me have no need to do anything other than trim it every once in a while.